guys did an excellent job of coming out, playing extremely hard, and really making some plays early in the game. Unfortunately, they're in the middle of the half. Probably didn't execute on the offensive end, but defensively I thought we were really still good and played extremely hard on the defensive end. Forced them to only 19% shooting from the field in the first half, and thought about the last 3 or 4 minutes. We made a great run there, and Anthony Hickey making some plays. The pressure from our press was good, and I thought Andrew DePiro made some huge plays, rebound, put back, got a nice dunk in there, knocked down 2 free throws. I thought doing that run that really helped us as well, and we look forward to the challenge on Saturday. Alabama team that probably didn't play their best on yesterday at Auburn, but a very capable and very talented basketball team, and we look forward to those challenges there on Saturday evening.
Johnny, are you eager to see what your guys do against a press, since you guys are so effective against it? Do you think it helps to be a pressing team?
At times, I think some teams, a lot of times, teams that press a lot don't like being pressed, and I think Florida, they've have the ability to press, and they pressured us. I thought we were able to handle their pressure somewhat, and other teams that have pressed us this year. I think we have the ability sometime to get out in the open floor and make some plays, and therefore sometimes teams will back their press off because of our quickness. And once we get through that first wave, our guys have been able to make good decisions on the backside of it. So that's how Alabama plays. I don't think they will do anything different, and we must handle their pressure if we're going to play well against them. And we just our big deal is being poised under pressure and making sure that we make the right reads and the right plays. And I think if we do that, some great things can happen for us.
Once they get out of the press, there may, just the consensus, there may not be as physical regards as this one that you're going to see this weekend with Lacey Relaford and Steele coming off the bench. Just talk about their on-ball defending, what makes them so good if you can't get that first wave and what they do.
Well, I think the good thing, what they do defensively, they're a very aggressive style basketball team, and they get after you defensively. And a lot of times what they do is create their offense from their defense and give them some easy scoring opportunities. And I think that's something that they really depend and rely on, the defensive pressure to create easy scoring opportunities for them.
Obviously, I don't think last night was y'all's best performance of the year. Could y'all have won a game where you didn't play as well as you needed to about a month ago, or is that a testament to guys kind of making plays down the stretch and growing up a little bit?
I think, and I told the guys this last night, that we have made some improvement, that we're a lot farther along than we were a few weeks back, and thought the sign of an improvement team or a good team is when you don't play your best and you still have an opportunity to succeed or win. And we're able to win last night without executing at a high level on the offensive end. But I think, like you said, you're able to find ways to win. And as Coach Brown used to say, well, I guess we were able to manufacture a win last night, and those kind of things will happen if you continue to put yourself in certain positions. But I think that's a sign of an improving team and a good team when you don't play at your best and you're still able to get a victory against a quality opponent, which Vanderbilt is.
Kind of along the lines of what he was talking about, do you feel like your team, like learning how to win close games, is something that they're kind of getting over that hump? Because you guys have had a lot of close games. You were losing earlier, and now you guys are, have won some very close games recently.
Well, yeah, but I thought early in the season we've had some close calls, and I thought we had done well. We got into conference play and had a couple of setbacks early on. South Carolina game, getting it in overtime, and they actually came back and had success in the overtime against us. And I thought at Georgia, another close basketball game, had chances there, but I think over the last week some good things have happened for us, and I know our guys were extremely confident during that time. Even in the South Carolina game, we're confident. Thought we would win the game there at the end, and it didn't happen, but I think it helps with your confidence when you're on this side of it, and you've had that success. And if something should happen in the future, we can always look back to execute it at a high level when we needed to in crunch time. And games generally going to come down to the last couple of minutes. mistakes anyway. And it's about executing offensively, getting stops on the defensive end, and making sure that you're knocking down free throws. And if you're able to do that at a high level, you have a good chance of having a good success ratio.
Has Anthony grown and kind of stepped up as a leader since his kind of setbacks early in the season where you held him out a couple games?
I think he's made some great strides. I think his focus really is primarily now in basketball. I think he understands that he probably let his teammates down and his fans when he wasn't available in that early period. I think that's something that bothered him, not being there for them, and I think that's a good thing. And so I think now he tries to avoid and make sure that there's nothing there or any hurdles or anything in his way to prevent him from being out there. So I think he thinks prior to making some of the decisions he was making early on.
Do you ever pull him aside whenever like the team was struggling like it was for a stretch last night and say, hey, take this over? Or is that something that he just kind of does on his own?
Well, I think it's just a relationship in plays we run, and I think he understands what sets we're in, or if we're running plays when it's time for him to probably be more aggressive at times, or it's times for him to continue creating opportunities for his teammates as well, keeping them involved. And I think he is getting it, and I think it's coming to him as he continues to play, that when the times during the game that he's needed, and he needs to step up and be a little bit more aggressive offensively.
What did you think about his block? You think he can actually get up that high and swat somebody?
Yeah, I knew something was about to happen because I saw him getting the stats together. Something I didn't know it was going to be good, but I knew it was going to be something was about to happen, and it was going to be aggressive. And he went in, and I saw, I guess, a clip in the paper today. There was really the extension that he had on it where his hand was, and I thought it was a great block last night. It's really a momentum changer there, because they go in there and score those 2 points, and they wind up having to take the ball out of bounds against a set defense. And that was a big turnover, and the guy was out in front, and Hickey didn't quit on the play, so I thought that was really a great defensive hustle play for us.
How important is it that Hickey and Stringer in particular have adjusted to slowing down and not going as fast as they'd like to against teams like this?
Well, I think the good part about our team that I think we've shown that we can play a couple of different ways. We're not just one-dimensional. I think we can push it and we can play fast if need be, and then we play a team like Vanderbilt, who tries to control the tempo, or Texas A&M, where they try to control the tempo. They can, and we can sit there and get to the clock and execute as well and make plays. So I think it's really a good sign to have a team that's capable of doing that, because sometimes people one-dimensional, and if you take them out of their rhythm, it's extremely tough for them to deal with it.
Coach, I'm doing a little something on Andrew, and you mentioned about how well he played last night, knocking down some free throws. I guess how far has he come from, almost being like a little chubby-faced guy when you need to get in shape to be playing now?
Yeah, I tell you, we've been really happy, and I tell people all the time, I've been doing this for 28, 29 years, and he's the most improved basketball player that I've ever been around. And I told some guys the other day, if he doesn't improve any more from this day forward, from where he came from when I saw him in April, to the impact that he's made on our team now, and what he does in practice, and what he brings to our basketball team, I think speaks volumes. And that's not easy, because when I saw him in April, I wasn't sure if he would even really be a part of what we're doing. And the work that he put in, he couldn't finish workouts, and would come up short on things. It was extremely tough for him, and for him to get through the summer and come back in August with a renewed commitment and focus really on what he was doing. And I know now that he has a passion really for what he's doing, and it means something to him. And for him to make those type of strides in that a small amount of time, I think says a lot. It generally takes guys a few years, and we're sitting here trying to figure out, thinking early on if we could get another year out of him because of how far he's improved now. So I think it says a lot about him.
And how about the dunk? We can talk with some of the players. I mean, I can see your face lighting up about it right now. I guess, what did you think when you saw that?
Well, it looked like Shaq. Look, I mean, I remember the base of the base came up from the floor down there. I think they have it cemented in, and I know when Shaquille was here and those guys, because they trying to stop it from moving so they don't have to stop the game. But I thought he went in there with some force last night and pulled that thing down and went through traffic to get it. So I was really happy to see that last night. And we know that he's capable of doing it because he's done it in practice, a few times. But to see him get through traffic like that, and a little drop-off glass like didn't leak through it. But you just don't understand, for him to be able to catch that pass and get his steps and finish at the rim, what that requires. And from when you saw him in April to him making that play, last night, it's something.
Is that where a lot of the joy comes from? Because I heard like players jumping up. I mean, even talking to everyone in here about it, their face lit up just like yours did when talking about that.
Well, our fans appreciate it because they were here. I wasn't here last year, so and they had an opportunity to see him last year. The guys that was on his team last year knew where he was in the impact that he made on the team or lack thereof. And now the guys that are all here know where we were in April and through the summer and where he was in August to the point that he is now, and they get excited. He makes plays, but he got the rebound put back last night, and nice little jump hook that went in, and threw another little left-hand hook in there, and it didn't go down for him, but he goes with his left or right in there, and didn't get to the free throw line, and just knocked down 2 huge free throws for us right there in the first half with nothing but net. And that's, for him to step in there as confident as he has, that says a lot. And on the defensive end, I think it goes unnoticed that he's a presence in there, and it forces people to play over him. And even when he don't block shots, they're altering their shots because of his length and his size in there. So he presents a really good presence in there for us.
And lastly, for me with him, just you spoke on it a little bit, just to have that actual heart and desire to actually want to play. Is it somewhat odd to see that someone's desire and kind of competitive nature just turns on like that so late?
Well, I always think that people have a drive from something when they're growing up and they see something, and I thought that his would have possibly been in the band from where he's obviously a tremendous musician in terms of being able to play the tuba, and so when you have somebody growing up and they have that type of passion, that's something that they gear their energy towards. And if you look at a guy that his size, you would have thought that at some point way before now that the light would have come on in high school or something and have passion for, I can do this and I want to. But for him to be playing over at the rec center and with some other band members and just other people and say, well, I'm going to go and try this out, and for it to happen. But I think it works a lot of ways. I think you had to have someone that really took a keen interest in him. And I thought, I think in terms of our staff and our players, I thought we were able to do a good job in terms of showing him or working with him and giving him confidence in some things that he possibly can do. And I thought when he was able to see himself making strides, some good things happened for him.
Coach, talking to a couple of your players, and especially since they have relationships with some of the football players as well, it means something to play in Alabama. Can you just kind of talk about, that's what makes college athletics special is the rivalries.
Well, I think anytime, and I tell these guys, and what's special for me is I've had an opportunity to put that jersey on before, and anytime you put that LSU on, it's something special. You represent a lot of people out there, and I was telling the group the other day, the 1953 team that played in the first Final Four, when you put that jersey on, you represent them. You represent those guys before that. Then you talk about the Rudy Macklin and Shaquille O'Neal's, all those guys still bleed that purple and gold, and when you put that uniform on, when they see those games on TV, those challenges are there, and that's what you represent, and you've got to make sure that you're representing it the right way, and that you're fighting for the right cause, and that it really means something to you when you have it on, that you're out there, whoever in that other jersey, they're the enemy. And anytime you put it on, you're playing for bragging rights. I don't care who you're playing. So when we line up, it means something to us because our deal is to make sure that we defend that uniform that we have on.
And they can sure pack it over there. It's pretty underrated just as a home venue. Alabama.
You say they can do what now?
They can really pack the arena, and obviously they kind of get up for an LSU
LSU, obviously, when they see those jerseys come in as well?
Yeah, but I think it's obviously a good rival. I think, and it extends from football to basketball, you name it. I don't care what we're playing in. It's a challenge because I think of the number of years that you've been in the conference together. I think for basketball, obviously Kentucky is a huge rival as well, but I don't think the Alabama rivalry is any different, from those. I think it stands out there and is at the top just as well.
Did it take you some getting used to when you went over there the first year,
To
being at Alabama?
when as an assistant.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I've been away from here for 3 years at that point. The toughest thing was coming back here to work as an assistant and being on the other sideline. That was different for me, and it was a tough, probably a tough week in preparation for that. And I was so glad when it was over and got it behind us because it's just a tough. It's tough, and I'm sure Bob Starkey probably went through the same thing. When he had an opportunity to come back here with. Trump's in him the other night, so it's different and it's hard. I mean, when I was in North Texas coming back and he was the head coach, it was tough. So I think those things happen. So, but it won't be difficult for me to go back to Alabama.